TV John Avenger once again, and welcome to another live commentary. And this is a 1982 movie starring Eddie Murphy. 48 Hours with him and Nick Nolte. Yeah, that's 96 minutes, so let's get this started. Hold on. I shut the live chat off. There we go. Now nobody can bother me. I'm shutting the chat off for this one. I don't want to read any messages today. I want to be left alone. I don't mind people watching this, but I just want to see this in peace. It's Groundhog's Day. Happy Groundhog's Day to everybody. Besides, no one was in the chat yesterday. There was like one person in the chat. Walter Hill, he's still around. It starts with horses running around. It doesn't start like a typical action movie. Nick Nolte, he's still alive too, even though he's really old. He was I've spoken from the Mandalorian. Will I do the sequel? Maybe. If I could stream it. 48 hours. Annette O'Toole, we still have her too. She's from Superman 3. Frank McRae. James Remar, we still have him. A lot of these people are really old. Eddie's probably the youngest of all of them. Sonny Landham, may he rest in peace. David Patrick Kelly. I won't cry in this podcast. This is 48 hours. Nothing sad about this movie. And the late great James Horner, may he rest in peace. He did the music here. Yeah, he's definitely missed. While he wasn't John Williams or Danny Elfman, he still did some really good scores that I miss dearly. I decided to shut the chat off. I don't want to be bothered today, here or on Facebook. Just a precaution, because it's a holiday and I don't want to deal with BS today, since it is a holiday. Tomorrow I'll leave the chat on, but today, no. I don't want to hear it. It's 8:53 in the morning and we're 3 minutes in. That's racist. Rest in peace, sir. Yeah. I miss Sonny Landham. He was in The Predator, the original Predator movie from 1987. This was a few years earlier, though. Yeah, the native people were here first. Again, that's racist. Why are people so racist towards Native Americans? I'm part Native American. Of course there's a murder. It starts with an action scene. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen this movie in years. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Written by four people, of course. Three, yeah, and of course Stephen E. D'Souza. He used to write good stuff, and now I don't think he's good anymore. Like once he did Street Fighter, it was the end of his writing career. Walter Hill, yeah. He didn't direct the sequel because the sequel was 8 years later. There's Nick Nolte. Still a good actor, even though he's really old now. I mean, on The Mandalorian, he was only in the first season, and he avoided Kathleen Kennedy after that. He's like, I'm going to say I have spoken, and everybody's going to say that. There's Annette O'Toole, as beautiful as she's always been. That's all I'm going to do. That's the most gorgeous dark hair. At least Nick Nolte's trying here. He's not overacting like he does in The Hulk. That movie was so bad. It's so boring. How could you get a director like Ang Lee? Well, he's a good director, not a great director, and a cast like this, and waste them and make it so boring. Seriously, I mean, Eric Bana. No, he was a wrong choice for Bruce Banner. That's why he didn't come back. We got Ruffalo now, and there's a Red Hulk and Captain America, a Brave New World, which is fine because it is a Hulk we've never seen before in the MCU. So we've seen the green one, and we saw She-Hulk, and we're not going to mention that again. She is forgotten. It was a bad girl boss character that should have never been in the MCU in the first place. Good actress, but waste of the effects and fourth wall breaking. Save that for Deadpool. Don't let somebody else try to do it. It's just not working. Deadpool was funny, and still is. You were in a forgotten show that everybody hated. Probably the first review bombed MCU show after Hawkeye. It starts a little bit slow, like Eddie Murphy doesn't show up until like 10 minutes in. That's why I prefer the Beverly Hills Cop movies more than this, because this only got one sequel. Beverly Hills Cop got three, and it's funnier. I love her hair so much. Yeah, if I don't want the chat on, I don't want it on. For Endgame, the chat better be respectful, or I'm blocking. I'm not gonna do it because I want to do that movie so badly, and I gotta find a way to do it without getting a copyright infringement. Yeah, this is a good-looking movie, just like the Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, 3. And I just did an Eddie Murphy movie yesterday, Showtime, but this will be the last one for a while because I don't have another 48 hours, or I don't have what was that movie called? Uh, Not Coming to America, the other one, Golden Child. I don't have that one either. So I'm gonna see Boomerang and then review that eventually, but not today. Did Walter Hill direct The Warriors? Because he worked with James Remar, I think, before. Yeah, I don't remember if he did. And they're like, I don't want to see that because it's got a bunch of gangsters that are black. Again, this it was in the '70s, and I wasn't around yet. I saw that at a screening with a bunch of fellow New Yorkers, and we loved it. Why? Because it's a staple of Brooklyn. Because the movie ends in Coney Island, which is in Brooklyn, New York, in the '70s, and I wasn't there yet, but I know what it looks like now. Because Remar looks exactly like he did there. I think that was in the late '70s. Yeah, it's not for everybody. That movie is very, very violent. It's very dark, but it's got memorable characters, and it's really entertaining. I forgot how well directed that movie is. Even the fight scenes. There's no. I miss movies like that compared to the films we got today, where everything is about race, everything is about gender, everything is about sexuality, everything is about political views. I don't watch movies for that, guys. Look at me. Do I look like somebody that's political? No. I watch these movies to be entertained. That's my top priority for the new Captain America in about 11 days. Because I'm going to go see it on the 13th. Yeah. I have no interest in the political affiliations. Hey, look who's there. Jonathan Banks. He was in this before Beverly Hills Cop because that was a different director. Hmm. He's not the villain in this movie, though. Remar is. James Remar and some other guy. I don't know. It's been a while. I haven't seen this movie in years. I streamed it on the files like about a decade ago. The heat is on. No, again, this doesn't have the great soundtrack. Also, and yeah, Eddie Murphy doesn't show up in this movie until like about a third of the way through. I forgot. It's mostly Nick Nolte's story, and then Eddie Murphy shows up because he gets out of prison. Sweet pants. Sounds like something Mel Gibson would say. Nobody saw Flight Risk. Why? People don't like that Mel Gibson's a racist. You can't be racist. I don't like Brits because I don't like the way they talk. It's got nothing to do with what they look like. Unless you're the hobo who I don't like her face. Sorry. It's got nothing to do with the skin color because that's just a coincidence. I forgot that this doesn't start with Eddie Murphy right away like Beverly Hills Cop. One, two, three, and even four. Space Kid. And I forgot all of this because again, I remember him and Nick Nolte's a racist because I got to take a black convict on with me on my assignments. Yep, Bosoms. It is a Walter Hill movie. She looks like Kim Basinger. It's not her though. She was doing another film at the time. I think Never Say Never Again. You saw they animated him without a nose. Yeah, Eddie Murphy doesn't show up for a while. I forgot. That's the one thing I forgot about this movie, that he's on the front cover and he shows up about 15 or 20 minutes into the film. Yeah, I'm good. I don't have to read the chat today. I don't want to. Holidays, I don't read the chat if I'm not in the mood. The next holiday is President's Day. No, Valentine's Day. I might do a podcast. I don't know. I'll decide. I'm not doing one the 13th because um that's when Captain America comes out. So I'm gonna go see that. I'm not gonna be on Facebook, so don't bother me. I don't want anybody bothering me on Facebook until after I've seen the movie. I'm seeing the movie around 5 o'clock, 5:20 p.m. around there, and I'm gonna get home by like 8 or 9 o'clock. So then I could see the. But I'm still not gonna see the reviews because I don't need the movie getting trashed by review bombed by a bunch of blindless heathens that are like, oh, it's a black Captain America, so I'm definitely not gonna see it. Again, it doesn't have to be all about race, people. Get over yourselves. Yes, him and Sonny Landham are the villains here. It's funny because Remar was not in Predator because Walter Hill didn't direct that. That was John McTiernan. And again, this is before people had cell phones, or they could whip it out and just call 911 in 2 seconds. In 1982, there were no cell phones. If they were a wireless phone that had no, with big buttons. It looked like a walkie-talkie. Shoot him. And people forget this is not funny in the beginning. It's mostly like an action crime drama. That's how it starts. And once Eddie shows up, it becomes a comedy. So it's a little different from Showtime. Actually, it's a lot different because that was PG-13. This is R. A hard R. This isn't some Mickey Mouse movie. No, Paramount made this movie, not Disney. Shut up. You're not even in the movie that much. What's some Spanish lady doing in a building like that? It has nothing to do with this film. This isn't Showtime. Again, if you did this today, someone would whip out a cell and just call the police. Or live stream and say, hey, police, there's a shootout going on in this building. Yeah, you would think that this movie, like, wait, this is a comedy? Doesn't start off that way. It starts really serious. I forgot about that. The second one is more like, they give you, it's very important. They get to the comedy a lot faster because Eddie Murphy was huge in 1990. By 82, this is his feature film debut, I think, as a lead. Because he had done television and some stand-up before that. No more bullets. No more bullets. And Nick Nolte is dead serious in this movie. He doesn't crack jokes like Eddie Murphy does. Yeah, you would think you were watching like Heat or something, right? If you put this movie like, wait a minute, where's Eddie Murphy? Again, Nolte, this is more of his story. Eddie's the side character in this movie. That's why his name is first, Nick Nolte. See, because he appears first. But Eddie Murphy may definitely bring some levity to this movie because if not, this would be a crime drama like Heat, or like the Boondock Saints or something like that. I'm still doing the commentary. I don't want to read the chat, mainly because I don't want spam, and I don't want to be bothered today. It's early Sunday morning, and I'm doing this because I don't want to postpone my podcast. I got to do these while I can, because if it snows and there's no power, I can't do a podcast. Yep, Jonathan Banks isn't in this movie much. It's funny. That's a handgun. It sounds like a. Why does it sound like a shotgun? That's a sound effect. You could tell. Yeah, this movie is not a left right at first. Mm-hmm. Intensity. Yeah, this film takes a tonal shift like real quick once Eddie shows up. I'm glad I'm doing this early because I want to get it over with. It's a short movie though. Walter Hill at least knows not to drag a movie out to 2.5 hours. It's only 96 minutes. I checked the disc. It says that's a good line. Because Stephen E. D'Souza will write Die Hard a few years later, but he had other writers too to help him out. Because when he didn't write Die Hard, you saw what happened with the franchise at the end. Oh yeah, this black guy was in he was in Last Action Hero. May he rest in peace as well. I don't like that either. I think the sequel is underrated though. It got bashed because it's not the first one. It was 8 years later, guys. Even Beverly Hills Cop 2 was only a few years later. It wasn't 8 years later. The first one was in 1984 and the second one was 1988, so 4 years later. And then the part 3 was in 1994. It wasn't until the fourth one came out 30 years later because again, 3 was so badly received that Eddie didn't want to come back to it for a while until Netflix called and said, "Hey Eddie, we want to give you another movie that I know will do well on streaming." And I enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No. But it's better than 3 here. Eddie finally shows up 25 minutes into the movie. So if you're waiting for the laughs, you have to wait until almost a half hour. Yeah, this takes a tonal shift. It goes from dead serious to not goofy, but it gets much lighter. And I like a movie like Joker 2, where not only is it a tonal shift, but it's a genre shift. There he is. 25 minutes in. Again, this is when people had headphones. Again, a Walkman, something nobody uses anymore. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Boy. At least it was able to do a sequel with Nick Nolte, because some movies never get a sequel. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. That really is his voice, though, Nick Nolte. He's not doing a Batman voice. And I'm glad they never did a third one. Again, this would not be made today because of the subject matter. Because the movie starts dark, and it involves a white man taking a black man out of prison. Again, that would be too socially conscious now, because you know how people are with when it comes to race. Everything has to be about what color you are. That's not what it's about, guys. There's some starts kind of serious. Yeah, it's not really a goofy comedy. Like, it's definitely not Beverly Hills Cop 3. It's more like the first one. 2 days. Mm-hmm. This is still perfect for Black History Month because, again, Eddie Murphy is a black living legend, man, in comedy and just in cinema overall. He, Jive. He owns him. He just told a black man he owns him. Again, guys, this is a movie for its time. This is a movie that will never be remade. You're not gonna see an old man. You're not gonna see who's a white guy that's old that's still alive. You're not gonna see Bryan Cranston holding like Kevin Hart prisoner, because again, that would be called racist. But in 1982, people didn't care. Yeah, again, I own you. Yeah, that's a line that did not age well, Stephen E. D'Souza. If you wrote that line, yeah, I get it. You can't tell anyone that you own them. You don't own anybody. Even a dog. You if you're a dog owner, you have to treat it with respect. Again, different time. It's like Die Hard with a Vengeance. It has all this social commentary because again, it was made in the '90s. People got to remember that. People like, oh man, the past was better. You mean movies in the past where they used the N word and didn't apologize for it, or where they'd say I own you? Yeah, they would never say that in a movie today. People are too self conscious. That movie that Kiki Palmer just did, you think they're gonna say I own you, girl? No, because you can't say that now. But enough of that. Let's get back to the film. It's a good movie though. I say that Walter Hill did a good job, and plus he's a white director. Of course, he's gonna have some social commentary in the movie, or issues in it, because it was 1982, and back then people actually talked to each other like civilized people, not bitching and moaning on the internet like people do nowadays, throwing a hissy fit over a freaking movie that hasn't even come out yet. I'm like, or anything. You missed. I didn't. I didn't like that other buddy cop movie that Walter Hill did years later. What was the movie called? Bullet to the Head. It wasn't Stallone's fault. He tried, but the script sucked. That Asian guy Sung Kang that was with him, he was not good in the film. Nick Nolte plays it straight. Yeah. See. Again, there's a lot of tension in this movie. Again, see, he's a racist. He is a racist in this movie. They don't even hide it. He just called him. Well, I'm not gonna say it because it's a certain fruit with seeds in it. I'm just gonna say that because again, this is about celebrating Black history, not stepping on it. No, it's not. Hello, beautiful hair again. She's so beautiful. I love her. I first saw her in Superman 3 before I saw her in this and other stuff too. She's just so warm and never controversial. Annette O'Toole, I never hated her in any movie I've seen her in. She's mm-hmm. I don't think they make that candy bar anymore. We're 36 minutes in, so we're about a third of the way through the first act. Nowadays, yeah, people just get overly sensitive for every little thing. I'm not, okay? But if I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to deal with spam today. 'Torchies. Hmm. Hmm. I know. Yeah, the pandemic, I was always randy. When I was in the basement and when I came up here, because again, I'm human. 40 minutes in. A Confederate flag. Again, this movie had something to say, unlike the movies nowadays where they have to preach, like Emilia Perez. Yeehaw! We didn't see that in the Barbie movie. Hmm. Shake it. That stopped the whole room. Everybody's quiet. Oh, yep. Again, this dialogue would not be used today. Because they're a bunch of Confederates. You know what they are, right? People from the South that are racist. I'm not one of those people. I don't wave the Confederate flag. I only wave the American flag. That means all 50 states, all Americans that were born and raised here, and American citizens, people that got an American citizenship. Not racist and freaking aliens. Sorry, that's not the way. I'm not white, so Eddie, I'm not in. I am not in that group. I embrace my fellow man. You know why? Because I know what this movie. This movie has. This movie has a thing to say. Nowadays, this movie would just be them preaching about Black Lives Matter and all that. I get it, guys. I get it. Look at me. Do I look like a person that? Someone thought I was white because I'm light skinned. No, I'm tan. Look, I got tan skin, so I'm not white. People thought I was Italian or something. I'm not. I'm just as diverse as the rest of you. Everybody was quiet. Like this would not happen today. Like if a black man goes into a room, they're not gonna stop all they're doing unless he does smash some tables or something. Yeah, I mean this movie has something to say. Nowadays, everybody has something to say that's stupid, and I'm like, that's why all these black guys got canceled. Not because they're black, because of what the stupid things that they said and did. Bill Cosby and freaking Jonathan Majors, and even though he was found innocent, yeah, he still messed up by running after somebody. You don't do that. And P. Diddy and R. Kelly and freaking all these guys, they got canceled because they're stupid. Okay, I'm not. I know what to say on the camera and what not to say. Trust me. I'm not a bigot. Win son. Chinese laundry. Mm-hmm. An aerobics video. If that's Denise Crosby, I think that's her, yeah. Hmm. I think that is Sir Denise Crosby from Star Trek. Yeah, this movie did not hold back. They will point a gun at a woman in this movie, too. Feminism does not exist in this movie. There's no girl bosses in this film. Nope, don't want to read about Squid Games. I haven't even seen the first seasons. I'm going to fit. That is Denise Crosby. I think that's her in a cameo. They are. He is the cop. Yeah, I think that was Denise Crosby. I like her. I've always liked her. I would love if she went to Comic Con. Because any of these people that go to Comic-Con, except for, the actors that passed away, even Walter Hill, I was like, yeah, you're a good director. I don't blame him for Bullet to the Head. I mean, he was older then when that movie came out. Even Sarah Shahi, I hated the movie. I didn't hate her because she was good in other stuff. Even in Black Adam, I thought she was fine. Her accent didn't bother me. Oh, she's Middle Eastern. Again, it doesn't bother me. She's not a terrorist. She doesn't cover her face. She's Americanized. And that's good enough for me. So is Iman. Iman is Pakistani. That's part Arabic and Indian, and it doesn't bother me because she's friendly and gentle. She's not an angry person. There's too many angry people in this world. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hmm. Again, they said that word a lot. Well, not a lot, but a couple of times in this movie. And this movie's more serious than Eddie Murphy's other movies. People forget that this is more street level than his other films in the 80s and the 90s. Why can't you put your bias aside, Nick Nolte? Just say, I'm going to work with you, and that's it. Just do what he wants and just go. That's it. You only have to deal with him for 2 days. I've had to deal with certain people for years. Why can't we all just get along and actually respect each other's privacy? Again, all of this fighting and they don't see, and no police show up. Everybody, if this was New York City, cops would have been there in 5 seconds because they hear everything. You try to do a fight like that in the middle of Times Square, they'll find you. Like a cop will catch you in 2 seconds. Again, another scene that would not be in a movie today. He's getting tired. Yep, there's the police. Now they show up. Again, stop it, guys. Stop. Again, this scene did not age well because of how socially conscious people are now. One guy dies and they're like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. No, it's not, guys. You got to move on. And this is the perfect movie to see after Showtime because it's way different. And the thing is, Nick Nolte didn't hate working with Eddie Murphy. He didn't. He didn't. It's too bad that movies, like this are never made today because people are so scared to make a movie, have a message without preaching about it for every 2 seconds. And just get your message out there and leave it at that. Don't beat it over our heads. That's what all these other movies have been doing nowadays. All these Oscar winners like Coda, Deaf People Matter, or Parasite, Asian People Matter, or this new movie that came out, Emilia Perez, Spanish People Matter. Again, stop preaching. Just tell a good story and we'll watch it. This movie's telling a good story. Is it perfect? No. It's like, oh, I gotta share this movie with a black guy again. It wouldn't bother me. I want to date a black girl. I've been saying that for years. I'm not woke. I'm just, it's my preference. Yeah, Eddie Murphy just sells it. This is why he became a star after this movie. He was just getting hit after hit, and Kevin Hart could never be as good as him. At least Eddie hasn't had a Razzie for a while, so suck on that, Kevin Hart, because you got one. Yeah, I remember this scene. Again, they fight more than Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, and that's a movie that had laughs, but it also has some serious business. That's why it worked, guys. The two polar opposites thing works when it's done well, not when it's two people bickering for the entire film. Also, this is when cars didn't have GPS or Siri or any of that. Now people are just lazy. They let technology run their lives. Well, guess what, guys? It doesn't rule my life because I can walk outside and I don't need a phone in my hand to do that. All I need is my legs and my feet. There's some laughs in the movie, but it's mostly serious. It's basically an action crime thriller with some comedy in it because it never goes goofy. This movie is dead serious. The first 25 minutes doesn't even have Eddie in it, so it starts like you're watching Die Hard or something like that, or like Heat or Mean Streets or something like that. They're as much as the Odd Couple as you can get in this movie, where these two guys just bicker all the time. And like, why can't people just be friends? You know, get along, find common ground. It's 9:47. Yeah, the movie's almost over. It's pretty fast paced for a movie like this. The action's good. It's well directed, and these two leads are great. And while the sequel was underrated, because that one's more goofier than this one, because it was in the '90s, and they wanted to be a little bit lighter because this one's dark. The grim tone in this one is not in the sequel as much, because Eddie in the '90s was doing lighter films, because even his gross out comedies like Nutty Professor wasn't as dark as this. I like that this movie it doesn't cater to anybody. Like it's a Walter Hill movie in the early '80s. It's not going to be a Mickey Mouse movie, guys. Let's just say that. Nowadays, movies don't have the balls to make a movie this socially conscious. That's why I put this movie and not Get Out or something, because that's painfully obvious. And we all know what that's about. Anything that Jordan Peele does is going to have somebody black in the lead, and they're going to have something to say. But the movies are much longer. Get Out is not 96 minutes. It's way longer. We get it. Prejudice sucks. We get it. Plus, I'll take Eddie Murphy over Daniel Kaluuya's crazy big eyes any day. Because like I said, I'm not acknowledging the Brits. This is not British month. This is Black History Month. Thank you very much. We're an hour in, so we got about 36 minutes left. And I'm glad this movie's not 2 hours. It doesn't need to be. One thing I don't like is that Annette O'Toole, while I love seeing her, she's underused in the movie. I didn't want her doing any action scenes, getting hurt or anything, but because she was doing Superman 3, because that came out a year after this in 1983. 83 or 84, yeah, around there. Like, I think it was 83. And I like that movie. I think it's underrated. If I didn't do it already, I would have done that. $500 suit. Yeah, there's no soundtrack in this movie. It's mostly just a score. Because again, this is a completely different movie than Beverly Hills Cop. I forgot how dark this movie got in the beginning. Because I'm like, I hadn't seen this movie in years. I'm like, where are the laughs? Oh, Eddie shows up about 25 minutes. My bad. That's fine. Because it's perfect for this day. At least I do these podcasts with no excuses. I turn on the camera on my phone, start the DVD player or the other device I'm using, and I get to work. The score is really good in the movie. James Horner's definitely missed. He used to make intense scores, and then he did Avatar and then passed away after that. Oh, I miss you, James Horner. I really do. If you have something to say it quick. Don't stretch it out. With Killers of the Flower Moon, they had to stretch out a racist movie to 3 hours and change. I'm like, guys, 2 hours. That's all you're getting from me. You're not going to get no 3 hours out of me. I'll see Titanic, but I'm going to wait till March when the winter's almost over because I'm sick of the winter's cold. We get all this cold weather, yet no snow. No blizzard. I want a blizzard. Damn it. I want to go into business. So the train's there. This film has atmosphere, definitely. I could say that over some other recent Eddie Murphy movies that came out. Because Beverly Hills Cop 4, we knew it was a comedy. They hardly ever take it seriously. Even when Judge Reinhold gets kidnapped, they'd still cracking jokes when they find him. Yeah. This is more Nick Nolte's story, though. And people are like, wait, I thought Eddie was the lead in this movie. He's the secondary lead in this movie. Nolte's the lead in this movie, and he does great. James Horner also did the music for Commando, which came out a few years after this, with Arnold. I got to do that eventually. I just don't have the DVD. I only have the Blu-ray. Yep, there we go. He shot a black cop in a major city. Again, different time, guys. So don't call me, oh, you did this movie because you wanted to spread a message. I'm like, no, I'm doing a movie because it's an Eddie Murphy movie and it counts for Black History Month. Not everything in Black history is sunshine and rainbows. I get it. As a person of color, I get it. But I'm not gonna do anything like I'm not gonna do any slave movies. I will not be doing Roots or 12 Years a Slave. No, I respect my black people. I'm not gonna put them in a negative light. I'm not gonna do that. This is a subway somewhere else because this is not New York City. I can tell the trains never look like that in New York City. It's a good movie, yeah. This still holds up really well. Most of it. Some of the dialogue and some of the racial references are not going to be for everybody. Some people are like, oh man, this movie's so racist. Again, different time that when this was made. They would never make they would never remake this movie. You know why? Because then they're gonna be too on the nose about it. Like, remember the movie Bright, where like fairy lives matter and all that? Again, stop preaching, Netflix. We know about your diversity hires. I have Netflix, so I know. I'll see Bright, but I'm not gonna like love the movie. I heard it was horrible, but I like Will Smith, so. They got away. That's a good slow-mo, shot. Let me lie down a little bit because the movie's almost over. I just hope I don't unplug it by accident. Come here. Yeah, I can lie down. The chat is off anyway. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody treats him with respect. Downtown. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sing it. Oh, we're done with that scene. Yeah, he passed away too, this guy. He was one of the villains in House 3, I think. Yeah. Yeah, we all do. Oops. Mhm. She's so gorgeous, man. Has curly hair in this movie, and you know I love hair. No hair, no deal. Nobody puts them on hold anymore because nowadays you have cell phones, or you could do live streaming, live chats. 70 minutes in, or 71 soon. Hmm. Here we go, a song. The soundtrack's not as good as Beverly Hills Cop. That's The Heat Is On and all these other great songs in it. Yep, shake it. The boys are back in town. I know that tunnel. That tunnel's from the Terminator and Back to the Future Part 2. So this is LA then. Yeah, dance. The boys are back in town. It's 10 o'clock now, 10:02. It's almost done, so when it's done, I'll go see something else. Mhm. No, it doesn't. There's Eddie's laugh. Yeah, he doesn't do that until near the end of the film. His wife. Yep, he's running. There it is, Sonny Landham. So they're on the bus now. We're almost in the third act of the movie, so and that bus is completely empty too. That's a great car. The car and the car chases is only one in this movie, not a bunch of them like in Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, 3, and even 4. Yikes! Again, people would laugh in the theater, but it's not. It's a derogatory word I am not repeating here on YouTube or Facebook. Again, why do police chiefs have to yell so much? I'm not deaf. I can hear you just fine. People don't have to freaking yell. We're almost done. We're 80 minutes in, so we get up a little bit. Good thing this movie's short because I didn't want it to be 2 hours. I don't want to do a 2 hour movie until probably the end of the month. We'll see. Excuse me. Bacon saved our bacon. Bacon saved our bacon. Bacon. I'll bring this downstairs. Mm-hmm. Annette O'Toole doesn't come back in the sequel because the sequel was 8 years later. Open the door. I was just there like 2 weeks ago. The Chinese New Year was last Wednesday. So I did a Chinese movie, see, because I like to be with the times. I like to celebrate any holiday that I can. We're in the third act now. The movie's gonna be over in a few minutes. If people went into this movie thinking it's a goofy comedy, it's not. It's mostly an action crime thriller with some comedy sprinkled in it. Because this is Eddie Murphy's starring role, his first lead role in a movie. They wanted it to be, memorable, and it is. No chance. That's what you got. It has a knife, just like in Predator. Shoot him. Thank you. This isn't like Predator, where the Predator kills him. It's only because James Remar was in Aliens, not Predator. A few years after this. Yep. Remar's a decent villain. He just doesn't have as much screen time as you would hope. But he is intimidating in this movie. Unlike the villain that I don't understand a word he said in Showtime. I gotta check the end credits to see if that's Denise Crosby because I have time. Got plenty of time. The score is really good in the film. This scene I do remember at the end when they're like, when they have the face off. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bum, 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 bum. It's a good score. One of his most memorable 80s scores. It brings some intensity to a movie that, yeah, people thought there was they labeled this as a comedy. It's more of an action film than a comedy. But look at that intense look in his eyes. It's like calling Die Hard a comedy. The first one is not. It's mostly dead serious. McClane's funny, but like the rest of the characters are dead serious in the movie. They're not playing. Most of them are not cracking jokes. Yeah, I remember this scene. Yeah, Nick Nolte looks like he looks like a cowboy that's ready to shoot somebody. I d- Look at Nick Nolte's. Yeah, again, not playing. He's not even. Nolte's not playing around in this movie. He's dead serious. Yep. Mm-hmm. Tarantino would do the same thing, but he would make the movie twice as long for no reason. Because these guys don't know how to make a 90-minute movie anymore. They have to make 2.5-hour movies. Walter Hill didn't do that. I don't know what his longest film is, but this is one of his shortest films. 90 minutes is all we need, guys. We don't need 2.5 hours. Sometimes movies just drag ass. They do. They take a 2-hour movie and increase it by 50% and make it like 2.5 hours. Light skinned black girl. Again, yummy, yummy, yummy. You beautiful creature. I need to see a much lighter movie after this because this movie, you know, is so dark. At times, it really does. I mean, he kills the villain. He's like, no, Nick Nolte's like, I'm not gonna arrest you. I'm gonna. He with his eyes, he's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna end you, and he does. It works. It's the direct approach. It's two actors commit, man. They do. And that was 48 Hours, guys, the original. It's a good movie, but it's really dark and it's got something to say. And it didn't need 2 hours to do that. So thanks for watching the few of you that did. I'm sorry you had to shut the chat off. Just a preference of mine for today. At least I didn't cry this time. Because there's nothing to cry about. Oh, good movie, and I would recommend you watch it again. David Patrick Kelly, yeah, he passed away, I think. Yeah, that was Denise Crosby. I knew it was her because I recognize her face and her nose. So yeah, this is a good movie. It's recommended by me, a high recommendation, because it's one of the best films of Eddie Murphy's career, definitely. It's mostly serious, but he does throw in some comedy in there. But thanks for watching. Acknowledge me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.